We are
I'm
here
on my
with
phone. Don't feel bad.
Carissa Grant, and we are going to get started, if that's okay. Whoops, wrong one.
Hey, hello, Wrigley. Wow, hello. What was that?
And Carissa will get this joke here. There we go. Might as well play it. It's the same music. It's not. It's hidden.
Yeah, that was wild.
I never used that song. My letterer gave it to me, and I was like, I'm going to try it. But I'm going back to my old music because screw you.
There you go. Well,
Oh, I
recently
thought
got
for a second there,
monetized.
Rex accidentally switched the soundtrack on you and had his playing on your trailer. I was like, how did you do that?
No, I didn't know that was like. I actually have two songs that I had made for my other series. And they didn't have time to make one for this one. So at my letterer, SK is like, here, use this one. But I'm just gonna go back to my old music because I don't want to copy everybody. But I do like the
That's cool.
speed of that one. Hi, yeah, I know, I saw you.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I
Hey,
haven't been on
Carrie.
Doc's show for like 2 years, so it's kind of funny that I'm on the two
Hey,
shows.
Lorenzo.
Yeah, I actually public domain, but recently I haven't been playing that. I played the first version. Omer Glitch, who's out there, did very hardly a version that wouldn't get my every. It was saying every broadcast is struck down, cannot be monetized, and I was like, why? We didn't play anything that was copyrighted, but apparently some of the music like that is copyrighted, so I haven't been playing that. I don't know if that. I guess both of them are because we use it. Well, we use different music. Doc Blaylock did the heavier version to me, and that's
I had a song that my the person that makes my videos used, and it was supposed to be free, and it wasn't, and it got demonetized on something.
Well, what
Yeah.
Omer tells me, or some people tell me, is that it was at one point public domain and free, and then they take it back or something and claim it as their own. I don't know. So
I'll just use my music. I've had like 20 issues released, so I felt bad people listening to the same song over and over again. But it's just the easiest way because I know it's copyright. It was made specifically for me, but it's just like,
right.
It's the same song for this is like I've had like 17 Kickstarters in like 2 years. So
wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, shortly after Pedro put that in for me, who did my animation for that, and then I and Doc modified it for this campaign, the same animation that Pedro did for my Ashcan on Indiegogo, which was the trailer you heard the same music from, just kind of clipped shorter than yours. Shelby Robertson had his Ragetality up on Indiegogo, and he used the same music, although more extended. And then more recently, somebody we had on in Arcfire, his book Arcfire had that same music. So it's like,
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
Yeah.
I've never heard it before until he had it. So I had to ask him for it. It's nice because it's very upbeat, but I'll have to go back to my old music or
either original or
I have 2 originals, but what happens is because I always add on the last issue so that so it builds up. So my issue 14 that comes out June 16th, it has like 14 summaries. So it's like,
so what is your publishing schedule, Corissa? I mean, how often are you coming out with these issues?
Every 6 weeks.
Every 6 weeks. Wow.
Well, every 6 weeks, every other. So I used to just do Redemption, which is my other series, because it's 6 issues ahead. So like 14 goes live in June, but my artist just started issue 21 today, so it's like really far ahead. But the Western's slower because he's traditional. It takes him about 4 months to do an issue, and I don't start Kickstarters until the issue's done. So it's kind of so I had to spread him out a little bit. So he's working on issue 3 right now. So I was going to do 8 this year. I was going to do 8 this year, but I cut it back to 6. So next year I might do more, but I'm probably going to have like 2 redemptions in a row and then do a Western so that I don't know.
Yeah. And
or
maybe a double-sized issue or something. Yeah.
Well, I make money mostly on my merch. I'm queen of merch.
Okay.
So if I have 2 issues at the same time, I might not make as much. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes. It's just there's so many of them. It's 80 issues already written, cut up into like 3 different series. So, and I want to do all 80, but I don't want to do 80. I don't want to be 80 when they come out. So, we'll see how it works.
You have a few years.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get it. Yeah. You don't want to become 80 in the next few years. I would say, don't age yourself out with stress. What is Redemption about? Is that also a supernatural Western or totally different?
It's the same characters.
Okay.
It's just them in modern era, where the Western is in this one. But Redemption is more of a horror adventure. It's very chaotic, action-packed, nonstop survival story. This one is more of a supernatural adventure. So it's fast-paced, but not as fast as Redemption. And it has a different feel to it because in both of them, they're survival stories. But in this one, in the Western, they're actually hunting down to research cryptids like Bigfoot and Mothman and Jersey Devil. And there's like 30 plus cryptids in it.
Interesting.
So, and it's more interactive. Because what happened is when I wrote Redemption with my co-writer Jess, I had 50 issues already written before I even thought of making a comic book. So I didn't have the mentality of, hey, this is going to be a comic book one day. It was pretty much like I'm wasting my only skill in the world by not releasing anything. So I released it, but I started writing the Western last year. So I already had the comic mentality in mind. So that kind of adjusted the story a little bit. So I was able to, it's still written for me. I only write stories for me. But
originally in your mind, what was it going to be? Was it going to be a novella? Was it going to be a novel?
Nothing.
It was just nothing?
Nothing.
Just
It was
writing
just
for
for fun.
your own?
Yeah, it was just for fun. It was written during role play. So for example, there's two main characters in the story. Yeah.
It's Scarlet.
There's my character, Seraphina, and then she's an angel, and then there's the other character that's Draven, who's a demon, and they're written by two completely different people. So we role played these characters and we wrote the story just for fun because we were obsessed with the story. So when you're reading the comic, I never wrote any of Draven's lines, and Jess never wrote any of Seraphina's line. So they have two different personalities. It makes it it is a lot more unique than most comic books or most stories. Even stories that have co-writers, it's not usually two separate characters. So
I think the first time I met you might have been on RJ's charity comic auction. Where he sold merch and stuff like that and Shadowhawk was bidding against me. That's before he was eating my coat. It might have been, it was comic books for children for charity. You participated in that, haven't you?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I've been on 300 shows in 2 years, so I've been on a lot of things I can't remember the name of. I used to do like 25 to 42 a campaign, but I ran out of shows and I got exhausted, so now I only do like 4.
Yeah, we were bidding against each other on what was it? I can't remember the name of it offhand. I got it sitting here on the shelf.
It was a
Fox. I think it was a Fox figurine. You had a black and white version, and you had a green version of it.
Yeah, and I think the green version there was
like
only 300 of them made. That was from Lori. What was her name? I can't remember. I know the face.
Hold on, let me go take a look.
She has been on mine for like 46 times, and it's never enough. Yeah, you got some fans out in the.
When are we gonna do it again? K-pop.
So your page count are like floppies, are they not? What is the size?
So I have both in Redemption, but in this so far, there's only floppy. The consensus is pretty much every 5 issues is a hardcover. And I did that because I released them so fast that I wanted an easy way or a cheaper way for people to catch up.
Yeah.
So Redemption has currently made 20 issue singles and 2 hardcovers, and I'm about to order the 3rd hardcover probably in about a month or 2. I can't really sell it till next year, so it's probably gonna be a couple months. But yeah. So far ahead, it's tricky.
Has the recent economy in the last few years affected, you think, crowdfunding in general and your sales?
I mean, I've only been doing this for 2 years, so it's really hard for me to compare. I don't know what people were spending before. So I don't know. I make them for me, and so I'd be making them anyway. So the Kickstarters helped get me out of debt from buying them. But yeah, I don't know how the economy is. I've heard from other comic book people that it's definitely less than it used to be. So
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I think from they may be looking at sort of those years
Okay, I
after
found
the
it.
pandemic, right? Where there was some money probably
Here you go,
infused.
Corissa. It was this guy.
There you go.
nice.
Yeah, I think that's from Lori or one of her friends that was over on, you know,
Yeah.
pretty neat. Yeah, he's got a black and white version and gray version of that as well. So that's pretty neat. Same character, isn't it? Shadowhawk.
Yeah, same character. The one was just a colored version, and it's got blood splatter on it.
What kind of merch do you do, Corissa?
Oh my god. So plushies, 3D statues, handmade statues, stickers, magnets, metal trading cards, metal bookmarks, magnets, coloring books, coins. Trying to think of what else I have.
What's been doing
Keychains.
best? What's been doing best for you?
Stickers.
What do people really like? Stickers? Yeah.
Well, my new thing is, and it's not, I mean, it's kind of merch, but so the Western is more interactive. So you can buy a small journal and you can collect these pages that have from the cryptid. So you're like a supernatural hunter that keeps track of the research that she's doing. So if you get this journal, as all you do is buy it once, and then whatever campaigns you back physically, you get free pages of whatever cryptids are there. So right now there's 4 free pages in this Kickstarter that's live.
Do you have
so
a database that keeps up with that?
What?
I mean, do you have a database that keeps up with that information? Well, she backed way back then, and then these others come along. They get free.
Like an idiot,
How
I
do you
started
keep up
this
with that?
without any thought process whatsoever. So
Yeah.
no, this is only my 3rd campaign with it because they bought
Okay.
it in issue 1, and then you could have, if you backed issue 13, you got the Bassett page, and now issue 2. So I'm keeping them all in Excel, but I'm probably going to regret it eventually. I already sold 30 of them, so now I got to keep track of 30 of them. But it's really fun to do. I have to do them all. I have to make up the page, print it, write it, cut them all, put holes in them all, make sure they all fit. Size-wise was fun. But yeah, it was just something for people to catch on to play. Now, the other thing I'm doing, which starts in issue 3, is you can collect the jars. She has to collect these jars of ingredients. So whatever jars she collects will be for sale for people. Only 18 are available of each one, or 20, I think, of each one. There's 18 jars, and I think there's only 20 of each. And you can get an apothecary box, a travel apothecary box that she has, and that fits the journal and all the jars.
Do you look for items online to purchase and then resell, or do you 3D print? I heard you say you 3D print. I know that, but
so
do you look for odd items that would be good for things like that?
So most of all the items in the Western are generally ones that I made or had to have made.
Okay.
Now Redemption has a lot of Anubis stuff that I did purchase because Anubis is pretty, I can get them pretty much anywhere
out there. Yeah.
But the ones for Western are all either made. Now, what I had the handmade statues done, and then they scanned it, and then I had somebody print them. But I did just buy a printer because that printer abandoned me. They were like too busy or something. So I just bought a 3D printer. It is still in the box. I'm very slow for new technology, so I'm going to work towards opening that box. But eventually I'm going to be printing them myself. Yeah, I have like 6 or 7 files, and I have like 4 more on the way. So
what's kind of your education? Was it or I mean, with writing, were you in journalism or anything, or
nope,
you just kind of like self-taught gamer?
I am dyslexic, and I thought it would be fun to write as my favorite character. And it started as 1 line, so I can write 1 line. That was about it. And then I just kind of went crazy, I suppose. And I got a little
I have
obsessed.
to ask you this because somebody said that my form of inverting words, like I might say Christmas happy, you know, or something like that. And not usually that weird. Usually it's words that's interchangeable, but I tend to skip the first word and go to the last, and they say that that's a mild form of dyslexia, and that's the first time I'd ever heard that. But have you experienced anything like that yourself, being full-blown dyslexic?
My thing, there's two things that I generally do. Now, there's a lot of symptoms of dyslexia that not a lot of people know about, but I tend to type out the words that sound similar. Like they might sound similar or they rhyme, or for some reason, which is very frustrating in messages, I do the opposite instead that I want to write. Like instead of writing don't, I write do, or instead of writing do, I write don't. So for some reason, I always write the opposite. Very confusing during a message when you're like, no, I can't do that, but I can do that. But the biggest thing is I'll write a lot of words that sound similar and rhyme or something like that. So
and rhyme, I do that too. Some of mine is rhyming.
The rhyming. And I mean, sometimes I can't spell simple words. And when I was a kid, my parents bought me a spell check calculator because I'm old. But the machine could not comprehend what I was trying to say. So Google has helped a lot. My phone has helped a lot if I can say the word properly, which 6 times out of 10 I probably can do. And I'll be like, how do you spell so-and-so?
Yeah.
So technology has helped me a little bit, fortunately.
Yeah, spell check is definitely for every writer. It's almost like another type of editor right there, right, for you. And you never, who edits your stuff? Do you have a lot of eyes to edit it?
I have 3 editors. Well, I
Good
have
for you.
3 editors and then 2 people that read it for me, but they're not allowed to change the dialogue for either character. So the only thing they really do, and they do it a lot anyway, is commas and spelling. Because commas are not my friend. And for some reason, Grammarly and Word, they never get the commas right. So commas are a big thing. And then the spell checking. So.
Yeah. Do they like take a red marker out and grade your sheet, mark it up?
Sometimes. But they get very frustrated because my dialogue, which is what people like, my dialogue is how people talk. And the way people talk is not always proper English because that's not how we talk.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a criticism, that I read this and this is not the way people speak. Now, people speak in all different ways, but it seems a little mechanical, maybe a little formulaic. I don't know, but they complain about that. Really, it should be like everyday speech, right?
Yeah.
The way
That's why they're not allowed to edit it, because I understand it's not always proper English. Sometimes words aren't said like that or whatever. But that's how we talk and we write it the way we talk. So it does frustrate some editors because they're just like, that's not the proper speech. And I was like, well, if you say it out loud, that's how we would say it. So, it's a little frustrating for them, but I mean, all you see of my writing is technically dialogue. So to change it would be to change my voice anyway.
Well, you admitted you were clueless at the beginning. Go ahead, Chad.
Corissa says sabotage, and that's just the way it's going to be.
That's right. Yeah, it took a while before my editors would stop saying, this is supposed to be written this way. I was like, doesn't matter. So, yeah. But I assume people like it because they're still reading it. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So you found your core group, right?
Yeah.
Have you've got a website, and links are all down in the description. What else do you do? Do you go on Amazon? Are you out in anywhere else? Or are you just kind of exclusively doing crowdfunding and then?
I pretty much just do Kickstarter. I do have a website, but I only release my hardcovers and PDFs on there because it's just too much to keep up with my own stuff. And I don't really like the website. I barely use it.
Where are you located?
Today.
Where are you kind of located, Corissa?
Tennessee.
Are you in Tennessee? Okay. Can I ask about where? Over by Memphis? Chattanooga?
But yeah, kind of like Knoxville, Nashville, between
Okay,
those
I've
two.
been to Knoxville, Nashville in the middle of the state, I would say. I have a friend that lives in Jackson, Tennessee, which is above Memphis.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've explored Tennessee. Went to school right under Nashville at one summer school. It's actually a high school, but they were having they've got a nice. I mean, the school was one of the top 10. I guess by grades. One of the top 10 high schools in America, and
Nice.
founded in 1872 or three.
Wow.
So it's been there a while. Yeah.
Takes place around the time my story is.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
That sounds weird, but okay.
What do you do for the Western for research or any of your stuff?
There's a
Do you
couple
watch
of things that, well, I didn't really do any research. The only research I ever did for Redemption is if I have her do something, I make sure it's physically possible. But for the Western, I have to make sure, and I don't do it for every word, but like a lot of phrases, I have to look up and see if it existed during that time. Because some catchphrases she uses in Redemption, like pinky swear or stuff like that, I have to make sure it exists, which it did. I'm learning a lot because language has been around for a lot longer than I thought it has. So I'm really surprised that was in there. But I also have to look up certain events. I have to make sure it hasn't happened or has happened yet. Inventions, I have to make sure. Lori, I have to make sure. I already mentioned you. I have to make sure that the invention is already invented or around that time. Make sure that person is alive, so it works out. See. Yeah, Lori is my spoiler alert. She makes sure that I don't give out too many details. I had her in spirit on Doc's show because I said I can't explain that because Lori will hear it and sense it and come stop me from giving spoilers. So.
Yeah, Lori, we're gonna have to get you on. We've been saying that for a while.
Yeah, Lori,
your work. Don't be a stick in the mud. Let's connect.
How dare she?
Yeah, I bet that term "stick in the mud's" been around a while.
What was the one I just used? I just said I can't remember. I just wrote it and I had to look it up. I was like, really? That existed?
Do you try?
No pun intended. She says no pun intended. And I had to make sure that
colloquialisms, and I'll check them probably. But I mean, I've watched a lot of westerns, a lot of the TV westerns that I watched growing up, and some you probably never even heard of. But I mean, of course, Gunsmoke, Bonanza, and big ones like that ran for so long. But when watching a lot of that to kind of get in the mindset of different stories, scenarios that I might do, not necessarily copying what they're doing, but something that's kind of suggested to me in just the stuff I'm watching, that would be a cool scenario or story, and writing it down. And then bits of dialogue, things like that. Do you do that? You try and get into that mindset, or is it just pure fantasy?
Lori's in the chat, Rex, if you wanted to drop the link.
Okay.
A lot of my story is inspired by supernatural or things like that. Like there's a lot of research I did was on cryptids because I wanted to get this descriptions accurate. I wanted to get their personalities, quote unquote. So I did a lot of research on cryptids, which made me find more cryptids, and then I had to add more cryptids, like unpopular ones that are popular when you know about them, but not a lot of people know they exist, like the squonk. Just the name cracks me up. Yeah. But the squonk is just this pig-like creature that sits in the woods and cries about how ugly it is. So he's like my spirit animal. Oh, wow. Yeah, and he joins in issue 3, and then he becomes a regular character because I felt so bad for him. So,
so you were to circle back, unless Shadowhawk's got a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Tree Goblin. Squonk is Lori's favorite. Lori, if you got time, you can come in. There's the link. Shakespeare popularized puns, Tree Goblin says. Also
Tree Goblin.
If you saw the riddle on my next issue, Carissa, I mentioned squonk. Laugh out loud. Squonk, yeah. There's skunk ape. There's all kinds of, like you said, Mothman and Sasquatch, Yeti, and
Oh, I have over
cryptids seem
30.
to be, huh?
I have over 30.
Okay, that's cool. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you got to get those sort of cryptid sheets to people, right? I mean,
Yeah, the
that's
journal
kinda,
pages. Yep. Yep. I mean, so like the first issue had the Wendigo and Bigfoot. And then this one has, which a lot of people have heard of, the Jersey Devil. We have to call it the Leeds Devil because it wasn't called Jersey Devil till 1900s. But then we have I created a couple. So we have the Phoenix Crow is there. That's going to be in it. Mothman was in this one, and one that's not as well known is a Tazzleworm, but it's like a dragon cat. So I had to put it in there. So there it is. Yeah.
Interesting. What's been the most interesting cryptid that you found out about that you didn't know about previously?
I would say the Tazzleworm is pretty unique. It's got the body of a dragon, like a Chinese dragon, with the head of a cat. It hisses. It's got toxic breath. It's got a lot of claws and scales and horns, and it looks really cool. But I have to say my favorite is definitely going to be the squonk, because where did this creature come from that it's just going to randomly sit? And if you upset it too much, it cries itself into a puddle. So really, yeah,
Wow.
like in this story, what I like about him, and I just saw him drawn for the first time yesterday. I got pages from my artist. He wails, like he cries like tears. My description was and he nailed it. I said he cries like a cartoon character with like the waterworks coming up. But you see Bigfoot like covering his ears because it's so loud, and the Mothman's got his finger to his mouth being like, stop crying. And I just found him so funny. And the second character, Draven, the demon, always wants to shoot it. But, Seraphina being an angel is like, no, he's cute. Leave him alone. He's fine. He's all right. But he gets him into a lot of trouble because every time she's in danger or something, or things are too loud, he just wails. So it's just funny. It was a fun way to add him into the story. I really enjoyed that.
What are you native to Tennessee?
Am I what?
Are you native to Tennessee?
United?
Are you native to Tennessee?
Native.
Were you born in Tennessee?
No. I was born in New York.
Really? Okay. Wow. That's a change.
Yeah. Oh, it was a slight culture shock moving here. I didn't know what a lot of their phrases even meant.
Humidity, mosquitoes.
Yeah. Oh, the pollen, the mosquitoes. They always talk about how New Yorkers drive, but these Tennessee people have nothing on New Yorkers. My theory is that they have to be nice all day long when they're around people, but when they're in their cars, they're like, screw everybody. I am on my way home.
Yeah, so it's like NASCAR.
Yeah.
Like street racing.
Oh, the first thing I saw when I moved here, and it happened at least 3 times, is people turning left on a red light. Left, not right, left. And I'm just like, you don't see that in Connecticut. You don't see that in New York or Connecticut or anything in the north. So that was a shock. And then even the most simplest little phrases are different, besides bless your heart, of course. But in New York, when I was working in an office, if you bother someone, you talk to someone, you say, I'm sorry, they'll be like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Here, they're like, you're fine. You're fine. That's what they say. And I'm like, I'm what? They're like, you're fine. I was like, okay. So,
and if they want to double down, they can say, well, bless your heart.
Well, bless your heart. Yeah. I've heard that a lot.
You're in trouble.
I have yet to use that phrase yet.
Yeah. Well, me either.
Y'all. I knew I was in the South when the billboards said y'all. So
I must sound very Southern to you.
Yeah.
See, Doug Blaylock says you're barely in the South. He wanted to debate whether Arkansas was in the South, and I was like, okay.
Oh, what does he say? Midwest? Definitely not north.
Who knows? I mean, he finally relented or whatever, and said yes, Arkansas is sort of in the South, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you damn tootin' it is.
It's funny that
At least we consider it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I would think so.
Now up
The
in
other thing
Missouri, right above us, can't add. They probably think they're in the South too, and they might be in the Midwest, but I don't know.
Yeah. That's another thing about dyslexia that people don't know about. First, I don't know the connection or the correlation, but we have trouble with accents and fonts, like typing fonts. I don't know why. And it is tricky because my font is specifically the easiest one for dyslexics to use. That's why it's used. But it's funny because if certain people use certain too fanciest fonts or something, I can't read it sometimes. So,
well, I mean, they're back in the 1800s where we're talking about. They had some real flourishes and really, and they really are hard for anybody to read. It's amazing. But it was all about, I don't know, I guess design. It was all about whether you could read it or not. It was, amazing what they do with that. But if you can't read it, it's not very good logo, is it?
No, it's
I'm
tricky.
having a logo made for my Western right now, Midnight in the Roustabouts. And what I'm going to do, I don't know if you're aware of pulp magazines that used to be out in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, the pulps before comics. I'm going to do a pulp because I figured out, Corissa, that I can write quicker than my art teams can do the stuff,
Well, yeah.
And so I thought, well, I'll do a pulp. I'll do a big one because I'm blown away by, well, how big is your page count? 80 pages. 160 pages, 180 pages. I'm just, 300 plus pages. I'm just blown away at some of these crowdfunders that I don't know. Maybe they've got one big epic story to tell and they're trying to, one and done it. But I'm amazed at the size of some of these projects, actually, and here you are kind of doing the more traditional floppies. And what I don't think you told us exactly the page count on your books.
So for Redemption, those pages are between 28, I'd say 24, but only like 3 are, but between 24 and 44 pages, depending on where I want them to stop at the particular issue.
Mm-hmm.
But for the Western, I am sticking to 24 pages. It's just, I technically wasted a lot of money having an extra page count because I didn't charge anymore. And if I had done 24 pages, it would have been technically 4 more issues. So with the Western, I told myself, unless I have a specific thing I have to add, I'm going to stick to the 24 pages. So far we've kept that for the first 5 scripts.
Pretty consistent, huh? Pretty consistent. I think that's cool. People kind of know what to expect and doesn't change your price point or shipping or anything like that. Yeah. But you have to do a lot really to change shipping. It has to be heavy. But do you do international shipping?
So I used to not. The first time I did international was my first year at the end when I did a hardcover, because I figured that they would be more likely to, pay to ship if it's got 7 issues in it. However, I decided to keep doing it because I figured, well, if they want it, they can have it. So I actually have quite a bit foreign overseas people, which I was not expecting, because a lot of them will just buy 1 issue and spend like $19 in shipping. And then I feel guilty about it. I'm just like, what else can I put in here? But yeah, I do now overseas because they buy it. So it's not.
I think you indicated you had 3 issues. Is that, 3 different IPs? 3 different projects.
They're all under Worthy Chaos. They're all under Worthy Chaos, but that's a cool picture. But it's Worthy Chaos, Devastation, Worthy Chaos, Damnation, and Worthy Chaos Redemption. And there's only 3 more issues of Redemption, and then it's going to be Worthy Chaos Conviction is the next series to come out after that. So
And why all the merch? I mean, besides the money
So
price point, how'd you kind of like get in that landslide of wow, this is doing better than the books or doing just as well, or another source of income, I guess, to publish the book and pay your artist and stuff, right?
well, what it started with I wanted the merch, and by me selling it is now tax deductible to own it, and it kind of spiraled from there. So if I want it, I buy it, and then I sell it for other people too. So, yeah, it's just everything I buy, I want.
Now,
I
do
want a
you
lot.
back other
That's
crowdfunders?
the
I
way to
guess
do it.
like Lori's book or anything.
I always back Lori's, of course. Yeah,
Mhm.
we back each other's books. I backed so far. It'll tell you I've backed 155. So far I've backed
Wow,
155. Yeah,
good for you.
I think
Awesome. Yeah, awesome. You got me beat, but you've probably been around. Sounds like you've been around. Uh,
2
how long
years.
have you been actually publishing this?
2.5 years.
Wow, you've done a lot in 2.5 years, huh?
I have. Lori yelled at me to slow down multiple times.
You probably
Um,
need to, because I mean you're 20 years old, and now look at you.
yeah.
It will age you. You know, I used to have non-white hair.
Yeah. I
When Rex started, it was jet black. It was crazy.
That's a lie, but I'll take it.
I have 80 issues that I want. So I technically, for Redemption, for that series line, I have 125 issues already written, but there's only 80 that I'm looking to, not only, but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, my credit card loves me. You kidding me? Get all that interest.
Yeah.
It loves me, man. They just
Yeah.
like, I went to go see how much my credit limit was, and they upped it like $6,000. I was like, shit. So
Uh-huh.
so my credit card loves me.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so I have 125 written, but I'm probably only going to release 80 for the other series. And the Western is probably going to be, I have 20 written already. It's probably going to be about 25 issues. So 5 hardcovers for the Western eventually.
So how did the supernatural Western, I mean, I get it, you probably like supernatural stuff, but why the Western genre, which I see becoming more and more popular, it seems like, especially at this
mine
time?
actually has a reason. We've always had the ending. So what happens at the end of Devastation, the Western, is what affects Redemption and makes it so much different. So my characters reincarnate into each life every 100 years. So it had to be 100 years back. So that Western was it was always going to be a Western, but it was never going to be expanded on. It was just the ending of that situation to connect to Redemption. But we wanted to see them in cowboy outfits and cowboy hats more, so we just kind of went crazy with it and started writing, and like a couple months later we had 20 issues written. So kind of got away from me. We write really fast. Like I sit down and write between 3,000 and 6,000 words depending on my mood.
Wow, I hate you already. Anyway,
I get that a lot.
yeah. Well, I mean, you said you had like so much written, like 80 books at the beginning before you even really got started. Is that right? Did I hear you that?
I had 50 issues written before I even considered or thought about making a comic. Yeah. And now it's 125 for that series. Technically, if you want to count all the series put together, I have 150 issues.
And how did you get that notion?
Wow.
How did you make that pivot to comics? You had other friends like Lori or others around that kind of influenced you?
I wish I met Lori right before I started. I would have done so many less mistakes. I'm not Lori hates when I say this. I am not a good writer. I am an amazing storyteller, so I can't write really well. So what I wrote couldn't be released as novels. So I never thought I could do anything with it. I was just doing it for fun. That was it. I thought that was a wasted story, and I was always mad. I'm like, this is such a great story. What a waste. It's such a good story. So I was getting ready to print them just for me and my co-writer, so we can have a novel, like printed just for, how you print one on like Lulu. So I was looking for an artist to just do a cover for me or for us. and all of them were kind of cartoony. So I had asked my co-writer, do you mind cartoony? Do you want more realistic? And Jess said, cartoony was fine. And then this really expensive light bulb went off and said, I can make a comic, and how hard can it be? And yeah, it's very, very hard. I always call the infamous line, how hard can it be? So I did it all wrong. I did everything wrong the first time.
One thing in my thinking process, it seems like things keep coming back to me and coming back. And then I finally fit that piece. Maybe it's the timing. I'm like, oh, okay, I can do this. And it takes, I finally find a way to implement that. It keeps coming back to me like a nagging little thing, Does that ever happen to you where it's like, oh, I got this kind of concept, this story, and then it's,
if I don't write an idea that comes to me, it keeps me awake at night and I can't sleep. So I only sleep about 4 hours a night anyway. So I'm usually up.
I say that too. I say that too. I sleep about 4 hours. That's it.
Yeah, I sleep, generally go to bed at 11, wake up at like 3, but I kind of lay in bed for another 5 hours.
Oh yeah. You got to do that.
Yeah. So if I do fall asleep again, it's usually only 10 minutes before my alarm
goes off. Lori.
But, yeah, thanks, Lori. So usually I have ideas from that. Usually I get ideas from either something someone says that sparks a huge thing. Generally 80% of the time it's a dream I had, or it's just something that develops over time. So yeah, I always have to write it, and I have ideas in my head that I haven't written yet. I got to sit down and write it. But I have way too many ideas in my head. It's even my co-writer doesn't know where the hell they come from. So
you have to be pretty proud to have published your first comic and hold it in your hands where your dream became a reality.
It was so the holding the first comic was amazing, but nothing beat holding the first hardcover, because the hardcover was 222 pages and it was so final. So permanent is the word. So permanent. Whereas, you can read the comic and kind of throw it somewhere and whatever. But having the hardcover in my hand was like, holy shit, I did something. So
storytelling and kind of all through everyday speak dialogue.
Yeah.
And then a good concept, right?
Yeah, it's a really good story, and knowing the endings it makes it better. Like I would never write a series if I didn't have the ending already written. So knowing how it's going to go, I don't have to think about it. I know it's a good story.
Lori's next book will be a comic called Spoilers. Because she already knows the ending. So
yeah, Lori knows. Lori actually knows a lot of my stuff, because I will sit there and explain it to her, and she'll be think I'm insane for all the crazy lore that comes with my story.
It kind of helps to have friends and kind of not necessarily bounce a few things off of them, but that's nice too. But just kind of verbally tell somebody the story that you already know, right? Because then you're like, oh, that didn't quite occur to me then, and just hearing it back at yourself kind of helps, doesn't it?
I have to say the most important thing now, I've had this story idea, it's evolved amazingly huge amount over the years, but I've had the story idea for over 17 years before I even started writing. So so when I found my co-writer and we started writing together, having Jess bounce off ideas, it really evolved the story. Now everyone said, oh, I could have wrote it by myself, but it wasn't meant to be written that way. It was just having the two people writing together is definitely way better than I ever thought it was. So I'm really lucky to have Jess, and I would have never written it, otherwise. So I got really lucky, and I think that's why the story is doing so well, is because two people were obsessed with the story. Hey.
Omer says, damn, Corissa brings all the ladies to the yard. Absolutely. Yeah. We finally got some proper lady representation in here, right, Shadowon?
Yeah. About time.
Yeah, about time. Yeah. Really, we're kind of redefining, in my own thinking, like you say, it kind of evolves over time and deepens, and you try and you're sort of obsessively thinking about this, or if you have multiple stories, you're okay over here and this, and you're working on multiple projects. to, I mean, I think that's kind of like the creative process, right? I mean, there are some that just work on one thing, but I think creatives generally have one or two or three or four
Oh
different
yeah,
things going at the
I've
same time.
jumped around a lot. Like we had like when we were writing Redemption, sometimes we would be writing 5 different sections of the story, and then the fun part is trying to find a way to connect it so it's one story. So I just when I get an idea, I have to write it right away, and then I get
Yeah.
so excited about it, I have to work that story out while I'm working on the other stories. And because I write so fast, that I just have all these stories going at once. Right now,
How do
I'm
you do it? Do
focusing
you keep a journal? Do you keep a laptop there? Like, do you know?
generally the laptop, or I'll put it on my phone if I'm not at home. Yeah, I've gotten up at like 4 a.m. to type on the laptop. So,
Right. Even though you might be tired, it's that creative
oh yeah, you're
sort of
not tired when you
inspiration,
have to
right?
write something. Yeah,
Yeah, it kind of fuels your
yeah,
creative
oh yeah.
process, doesn't it? It's like, yeah. If you don't write it down, you tend to not forget and go on to another thing and lose it, right?
Um, sometimes, generally, my like I have the origins in my head that I haven't written out yet, and it's been stuck in there for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some things that I know I have to eventually write, but I just haven't sat down and write them. But if it's a specific scene, then yes, I have to sit down and write exactly what happens or how I saw it. Otherwise, So I do that. But an idea I have in my head, like I know how the fathers meet. I know how the story was created. I just haven't sat down and written it yet. So
Yeah. Where do you get your I had to say hi to Marvy. Hey Marvy.
no,
And hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button.
it was a very good
Um,
chat.
very good chat. We be hopping today, you
Hey,
know.
Omar in the chat. Good to see you, buddy.
And you can yell mayonnaise all you want. I hate mayonnaise, but
Mayonnaise.
yeah, mayonnaise.
Oh,
Yeah, they know my dislike for mayonnaise. It's my favorite condiment's mustard, ketchup. I'm fine with, but
I
no
hate
mayonnaise
mustard.
for me. You
I
you
love
hate
mayonnaise.
mustard? You hate
I hate
mustard?
mustard. I love mayonnaise, but my husband absolutely appalls mayonnaise and loves mustard. So opposites attract.
What is
There we go.
your husband think about your writing and your success with it
Um,
and merch and all that?
He thought it, well, he made the mistake of telling me to go all out for 2 years. So I went
Uh-huh.
all out for 2 years. And then I was supposed to slow down after the 2 years, but instead I started another series. So he's kind of made fun of me about that. He goes, "What happened to slowing down?" I was like, "But I had this idea and I had to write it out." So yeah, here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And so where do you go to your inspiration? You just like comes to you, you write it down or what?
When
I
it
mean,
comes to me, I write it down. I don't usually know what I'm going to write until I sit on the, down at the computer. Sometimes, how our writing works is I will write a chapter out first and through my character's perspective, and then I will send it to my co-writer, and my co-writer will write it back the same chapter, but in the eyes of the other character of Draven. So,
okay. Wow.
yeah, so that helped. I don't know. My character will talk to that character without getting an answer until I get that chapter back. So sometimes I don't even know half the things that are going on until we're put together, and then I merge it all for the comic book scripts. So that fuels me, and sometimes I don't even have any idea what the next chapter is going to be. But if I sit down and be like, "All right, I'm going to write," and then just stuff comes. So I just have to sit down and write it.
So writers write, but I mean, is that all you have to do is just start writing?
That's it. And they always ask
Yeah.
me, "What's your process? What's your process?" I just sit down and write. I don't have any other process.
And so you
Mayonnaise.
kind of run that speech in your head, dialogue. Is that how you do it? You start with a bit of dialogue, a character speaking,
Yeah.
and then
If the idea comes to me late at night or I have a dream about it, then yeah, I think about it over and over again. But if I just have it during the day, I'll just sit down and write. I don't have to think about it over and over again. Mayonnaise.
Well, we better take a closer look at this. This is a supernatural Western. But now when does your third series drop, or is this the third series?
So I'm only doing right now. I'm doing the Western and Redemption. I probably will eventually do Damnation, which is only 5 issues.
Oh,
But
okay.
right now I'm focusing. There's only 3 more issues to write. 3 more issues to draw of Redemption. So when he's done with that, I haven't decided yet if he's going to do the first series or if he's going to go on to the second series, the third series. So I don't know. Well, I'm not sure what he's going to do. He's a really fast artist, but it costs money. So
Yeah. Is this the cartoony style that you were talking about right here?
that's so that's the stickers. Yeah, those are the creatures that I
Mhm.
have. That's the journal. So if you scroll up a little bit before that, go back the other way, you could see the pages. So there is a journal page. So it has the
Mhm.
picture of the cryptid, has a small description of it, and people will get the journal, and then they could either keep the stickers in the back of the page or one of the blank pages, or they could just use the blank pages for themselves. But
Looks
that's
kind
the
of
journal.
hand printed. Who does your lettering?
These are mine. I do the journal pages. Yeah.
Okay. And how do you do that? You do your own lettering by
So
hand
the
or?
lettering, yeah, the lettering's mine, and
Mhm.
the art is line art that I originally bought for the stickers. So I'm using it for
Okay.
that.
Okay. And what's the best thing you think about doing Kickstarter over at Kickstarter
Um,
platform?
I like the way it brings in new readers. They can see pages, they can see the covers.
Wonder.
So I really like the way I like the platform a lot. This one
How
has
many?
6 covers. I normally have 3, and I'm very upset that there's
Okay.
6. But
Okay.
it just kind of worked out that way. And I only launched 2 days ago. So I only do 19-day or 18-day Kickstarters. I don't like long Kickstarters.
Wow, that's not long at all. It's like
No,
get it
I
or
do too
don't get
many
it.
of them.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, it was a 19-day. Now it's a 16-day. So
Wow. 6,448. You are banging it out,
yeah,
Yeah.
it for this is the fastest. It was 4,000 in 2 hours, and that's the fastest it's ever been. So
Wow.
Hey, Anthony, what's happening, buddy?
And you
well,
only had to do like 20 plus images books to get there,
yeah.
but only about 2.5 years. That's incredible.
Yeah, issue 1 brought in about 14,000, but my redemptions bring in about 3,500, 4,000, so a little less. This one was easy.
DG running it through the slums tonight. What's up, brother?
I think I released redemption too fast, so it was hard for people new to come in. So
Yeah.
that's why I kind of started this series because it was easier for people to come in at issue 1 and get.
What do you mean by too fast? Too close to another project, another
No,
Kickstarter
like too
you're
close
in? Or?
together. Like my first
Oh, okay.
year, I released like 8 issues. So
You think that was too much on the pocketbooks of some fans?
it's not that I think so, but it's also like if they didn't discover me until issue 8, now they have to do a large catch up.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I did the hardcovers to help. I thought it would help, so I think it helps.
And so how does your taste kind of run as far as art wise?
I like the
I mean,
80s and 90s
what do you
style.
like? 80s, 90s? Okay.
Yeah.
What comic books or if any did you read growing up?
I grew up with Ghost Rider.
Okay.
Mainly the Danny version. I did like Johnny Blaze, but Johnny Blaze was my older brother's line, and then I started in Danny, and then Danny Ketch, and then I read some Batman, but only if it had Robin in it because I found Batman boring. So, and then I followed Dick Grayson as he went, and that's pretty much what I stuck to. And then I quit after Rising the Midnight Suns the second time. It was just too much for a teenager to keep up with like 50, I think it was like 25 titles, crossovers.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, screw that.
Did comics help make you a reader?
No.
No. Were you an avid reader before comics?
Yeah, I liked like Choose Your Own Adventures or the little. I didn't read Goosebumps. I don't think I read something like Goosebumps.
There is a lot to the Kickstarters. I mean, you put a comprehensive I mean, very detailed. Do you think sometimes it's a little bit too much with
Yep.
sensory overload? Apparently, you don't because
I just don't care.
yeah,
I mean, people don't have to look at merch. They could just buy their issue and go. So,
yeah, true.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't have survived if I didn't have merch.
the
So,
journal looks very cool.
yeah, that's the journal.
And it's neat that it's kind of interactive.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Carissa.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the merch goes, do you just buy it strictly for the amount that you sell on the campaign, or do you have extra that you sell anywhere?
Depends on the merch. Some things I buy just for, like, I buy 3 plushies of the larger plushies, and once for me, once for my co-writer, and then once for the Kickstarter, just so it's tax deductible. Other things I buy more of. Really depends on it.
Oh, so the little plushie like cryptids are only one shot.
Some of them, like the big, I started buying a smaller version. So the 12-inch ones, like the crow and the large Mothman, I only have
Mhm.
like I think I have one of those, left, whatever.
Yeah,
But
those are cool.
yeah, so I only bought 3 each of those. The other plushies, I have more of, but they are limited. It just depends, how many I bought. But I
Do,
do
do
like I
you
do like the plushies, so I've been buying
do
a
you
lot of.
try and keep one of everything?
I have one of everything.
I have seen your redemption on X as you've advertised it,
Yeah,
and the artwork is stellar. It's really nice. It really
thank
kind of
you.
grabs you. Yeah.
Yeah, very detailed, which I
And
like.
who is your artist on Redemption?
Redemption is Jonas DaCosta. He's been the issue 1 was his first, well, technically
Hmm.
issue 2, and then he went and did 1. But my series is the first series he ever professionally worked in comics.
Wow.
Night Cave.
Yeah, and now he's bye, and now he's got other jobs, but he still fortunately does mine. So
CK.
bye, Kate.
Dark Give Comics in the house. Hey, Anthony. It's good to see you, bro. It's been a while. It's kind of like that ideal was for Twilight that the right was going to the right, the Twilight books from the guy's perspective from back in the day. I don't think she ever wrote the book. Not sure. I'm not a fan of Twilight.
I don't
Homer
understand.
says. I didn't quite understand that either, but I think when you were saying that you kind of back and forth between the titles, how you write and everything.
Oh,
I
maybe
think that's what he was alluding
all
to.
these are written as novels first. So 16 novels are written and 14 are finished.
Okay.
15 is almost finished and 16 is kind of on hold while I work on other stuff.
So
Um,
it's you're kind of coasting in a way. I know you're very busy, but you've already got stuff written now. You have to get down to the particulars of it when you go to put all this together. I know, but
yeah,
you kind of started out ahead, right? How
yeah.
invaluable is that?
Yeah, not a lot of people have their issues all written out. Like
Yeah.
Redemption, it's already written, so it just kind of does its thing. And the Western has 20 issues already written, which I think we do probably 3 a year. So it's got 6 years to go. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It's an amazing looking campaign.
Thanks.
What's been was it the hardbacks that were kind of like the things that were most satisfying, or is there a particular piece of merch or something that you're very
I
proud
think
of?
I think the hardcover was the most satisfying because it was
Hmm.
it was just so amazing to see such a permanent book. You can't fold it and throw it away. I
Right.
bought 500 of them, before I even sold them. So storing them was
Wow.
a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Now, do you do conventions?
Yes, I hate them, but I'm getting better
just
at
pop
them.
back in. I shouldn't be.
What happened?
Dark Gift was asking if I was making a humming sound. Did anybody else hear anything?
I
I
was
think
hearing
that's
like a TV sound. Is it
little.
feedback?
I think it's a little feedback on his end. Yeah, just a
Gotcha.
little bit. Mhm.
Yeah.
So so you do conventions, but you
Now,
hate them,
now
but
when
you're
I was
getting
doing
better.
Redemption, I did the first year I did 10, and the second year I only did like 4. I didn't really like it.
Mhm.
But now I have like I think I have like 8 this year. I like local ones. I don't like to go too far.
Yeah,
Nashville
yeah.
is my favorite one, the Nashville Comic Con in June.
Uh-huh.
People come and know me there, so every year they come and find me, which is nice. Um,
But you get
I'm
new
doing,
readers there too, right? Potentially.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm doing CreepyCon in Knoxville. I'm doing a lot more cryptid. I didn't even know cryptid cons were a thing, and I'm doing a lot more of those. So I have the Bigfoot conference. I have the Lexington Cryptid Con, which is really huge in November. I have another Bigfoot one, and I think there was another one. I don't like outside ones. A lot of the cryptid ones are outside, so I can't
Like
do them. But
festivals. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Is there a reason for that? Like the wind or the hard to set
The
up
wind, the
or
weather. I don't like carrying a table. They have to give me a table. If there's no table,
yeah,
I'm not doing it. So I
yeah.
did buy a table, but I have no arm strength whatsoever. So it
You
was just
you
not
you
worth
gotta
it.
have a big setup, right? I mean, you've
I have
done
a
a lot of
huge
books.
setup. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Does your husband go with you on those
He does the Nashville one with me. He might do a couple of other ones. It really depends if he's working, if he's got things going on. I don't think he's doing the horror one with me. I'm doing another horror one in Kingsport in May. That one's huge. That's 3 days. I don't like 3 day ones. I like the 1 day ones. That's my favorite.
Yeah. Now, do you
Um,
have to commit to 3, or can you just say, "Well, I'd do it for 1"? Because I know
I'm gonna.
when
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna ask if I could skip Friday because no one shows up on Fridays. But we'll see what they say. It used to be 2 days. So when I
Mhm.
signed up for it, I thought it was 2 days, and then after I was like, first time it's 3 days, and I was like, what? So that was my fault. But yeah,
Yeah. I guess you almost probably have to do that for the table cost, right?
yeah. I hate it.
You seen a big resurge now, you didn't doing that for what? 2.5 years or
Two
even
years, yeah,
less? 2 years?
even
Have
less.
you
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah,
So you really got in on the research because before that, they've been after the pandemic, they've just been kind of coming back the last couple years.
yep.
Have you
Yep.
seen a bigger influx as you go along now of
Well,
people
I wasn't
attending?
doing the. I don't think I started the comic during the COVID. Um, I think I started it right after. So like 2023, I think was my first con. So I think they were kind of
Uh-huh.
getting out of it. Yeah. So more masks. It's very hard to talk to people when they're wearing a mask because I can't really hear what they're
Oh yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Has anybody cosplayed any of your characters or
Not
anything? Have you bumped into
not yet.
somebody?
I've seen fan art, but I have not seen
Have you?
cosplay yet. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you publish said fan art, or do you have plans to
I
publish
think
that type of stuff?
I think I bought one of them,
Oh
but
yeah.
I haven't published anything yet.
Yeah.
That's fan art. Yeah.
Yeah. That's got to be gratifying to see your babies, your creation kind of come to life in that people are emulating and actually,
Every
carrying.
time I pack up something, I'm like, I can't believe people spent money on my story. So I get that effect every time I pack up something. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
What's the hardest thing about writing, and what's the easiest thing
I don't have any
in your
hard things
opinion?
about writing.
Yeah.
The easiest thing is just writing out anything. once I start writing, it's hard to stop me. So that's not a problem for me to write. I don't really have any
Were
kind
you
of
always a writer, a quote storyteller? I mean, from way
I'm more of
back?
a storyteller, yeah.
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 So were you did you always commit it to paper? Did you
Um
journal like growing up?
I never wrote. No. I wasn't a
Uh-huh.
fan of writing at all.
Yeah.
Mostly
So what
because
kind of
I had to
what
dumb
kind of
down
got
my own
into that?
writing. Huh?
How'd you get into that?
Um I played the game Resident Evil 2 and I
Okay.
fell in love with the character. And
Uh-huh.
after watching a horror movie, I did some research on the horror movie to see what parts were real.
Uh-huh.
And somebody was role playing a character from that movie. And I said, "What the hell are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm pretending to be the person. And you could just pick a character and start writing about him." And I was like, "All right." And that's how it started.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all it took. I've been obsessed for the past 18 years.
So do you find over time, as I'm been building and giving myself time to do this first complete book, I've already released an ash can, a 24 pager, but and had one complete story. Could have done it by itself, but I kept adding these backstories, and the story kind of we're kind of redefining the cliffhanger, aren't we? Because
Yeah.
we're not on a monthly basis. Do you do
I like
one
to
and
torture my
dones?
readers with I love to torture them with really bad cliffhangers, like really
Yeah.
awful. Yeah.
Yeah, but in your case, they really don't have to wait that long for a
No.
resolution, right?
That's why I don't feel guilty about it. They only have to wait 6 weeks. Well, yeah, they only have to wait 6 weeks for the next one, and they generally only have to wait 3 weeks to get their own issue. So, and yes, Resident Evil is one of the best games ever. So,
Yeah.
all right.
What is your end goal with this? I mean, when you are 85, do you want to look back and say I did 1,500 comics, or what? What is your and made
There's
all
no
this
goal.
merch?
I just want to be able to see my whole story be drawn out. At least all of Western and 80 of Redemption of that line. So
Uh,
if I wanted to pick a dream goal, I would say I'd love to see it as an animated series. But other than that, I just like to see the story drawn out.
what age group is this set for? Your books,
18 or higher.
18 or higher. So
Well,
there
the
is some
Western's not
mature.
that bad. So there's no nudity in it. There's no sex in it. There's some cursing in Western, but there's a lot of cursing and Redemption, and there's a lot of gore in Redemption. But Western can be a little younger. I always have people ask me at the cons, how old is this for? And I always say there's no nudity, but there's a lot of gore and cursing. And they're like, "Oh yeah, it's fine then." So they've been giving it to 10 years old. So I don't know. Apparently all they care about is nudity.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the
I mean,
inside out governments. Yeah. I do have to get going in like 15 minutes, just to let you know. My husband
okay.
says he's on his way home.
All right. Well, what have I not asked you that you want to talk about? You want to take a look at a finer point of the campaign, or what?
You
Because
can. I mean,
I've got questions. I've got questions. I've
go ahead,
always got
ask a
questions.
question.
Don't think I'm running out of questions, because and
Yeah.
I'm fascinated, especially with, do you think it gets easier after your first, or you set a good foundation? That's what I'm trying to do right now, is set a good foundation, and I find the stories are coming easier as I go along.
I've never had problems writing a story, but I do find that ideas come to me a lot more now. Like, I would think it would be the other way around. Like, after writing now I've been writing the story for about 5 years at this point. So when I originally was writing it, I didn't have a lot of thought process to it. So I just kept writing, but I thought I would run out of ideas. Like, I remember thinking I remember thinking around 1 year, I was like, "Oh, this is the best idea. I'm never going to be able to beat this." And then I have another idea. And so they keep coming. So I'm shocked that I haven't run out of ideas. So I'm probably more surprised that I keep getting ideas.
That's part of the thing, right? Is ramping it up, making it more interesting, right?
I have to say I'm very surprised that it keeps getting more and more interesting. So I really thought, I'm really shocked I haven't run out of ideas. But
would you say your characters have good characterization?
Yeah, they're full of a lot of personality, that's for sure. So
Yeah.
And it's nice to see the bond grow between them, and I like to see the growth between the characters. Yeah.
I think when it comes to fictitious characters, I think of first characterization, but I also heard a great quote I think it was an animator actually, and this kind of makes sense that he said this, is that it doesn't really become a viable, good character, and I'm using my own words here, till you interject, till to the reader, it becomes a personality. I can see that. And that's built up over time, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't understand my character in the very beginning, but now she just takes over.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say there's times that it kind of writes itself?
It completely writes itself. I have nothing to do with it. I've actually had arguments with my character in my head because I was writing this. I remember one time, at least, I was writing a scene and I didn't really understand what I was writing. And I said, this is stupid. I got to start over. And my character's like, nope, you got to keep writing. And I was literally arguing with, I was like, this scene doesn't make any sense to me. But after it was done and the scene was over, it was actually a really cool idea and a really unique idea. And I had sent it to my co-writer, and my co-writer's like, where the hell did that idea come from? I was like, not me. So
have you ever painted yourself into a corner where you didn't know how to get out of it?
So
or it was very difficult to think your way through it?
No, I've never had that happen because I had a lot of practice over the years. Because people would when I role played, they would stick me in a corner and try to, and I would try to stick me up, but I'd always get out of it. And what is your readership? You know, I have a very large male audience, but I do have females too. So what's nice about the story is it's actually written kind of for both, because at the core of it, it's a true love story, but there's no, it's not really romantic. It's more of an adventure and action type. So I've had a lot of, mostly male. I would say it's 90% males that are reading it, but the girls that read it love it. Yeah, it's a lot more men that I know of that are reading it.
I mean, that's kind of the comic thing, right? I mean, comics are mostly have a male readership, but you're out there trying to change that, I guess.
Yeah. But it was so funny because to me, I never advertised it as a love story because I didn't want to alienate guys and make them think that it was a romantic story. So I never advertised it, but then I'll have guys write to me and be like, when do they kiss? Like, when do they get together? Like, what is it? So I do have a lot of guys caring about it too. So it's nice, but I don't advertise it like a romance because it's mostly an action adventure to it. So
do you just have downtime, or would you call it actual writer's block? Do you ever have a writer's block?
Nope.
Nope.
I don't have no. I haven't yet. I'm sure it's going to happen eventually.
You got diarrhea of the brain.
I do. Yeah. I definitely do. I have way too
I mean, I guess you're in no peril of getting behind. The great thing is, what impresses me is you've got this surplus of stuff already written. I mean, it's do you ever go back to that and kind of tweak that, or do you do that in the moment when you get to that issue and you kind of tweak it at that point, or try and make it better?
I have, when I'm converting, so I write in novel form. When I convert it to scripts, then I kind of tweak it a little bit.
Well, now, see, Carrie says I can't get into romance genre, but
thanks, Carrie.
Isn't that kind of what a vampire story is? And she loves vampire stories.
I do have vampires in mine. Well, mine are called clotters because they're a little bit advanced.
What has been the hardest thing to overcome bringing your comics to life? Omer says.
I would say getting my story to readers, because it's very hard. Like, once people read it, they love it, but you have to get people to read it. And I think getting my story seen by people is probably the hardest part.
It's not necessarily
distribution.
It's not distribution. It's not distribution. It's per se. It's just getting them to get a chance to sink their teeth into an issue and see if they like it.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you do reviews like at this, doing this much? Like, you probably had some endorsements, like, read Corissa's stuff. This is awesome. Lori, this is awesome stuff. Carrie, I
I've
mean, you
had some
must have
people
some
write
readers
stuff.
that,
Yeah. I would say
chimed in.
the number one thing that helped was doing podcasts. I did 300 podcasts in 2 years. So that's
Wow.
probably the number one way I got my story out there. Yeah.
And what was your podcast about? Just writing in general?
No, I'm being on other people's podcasts like this.
Oh, okay.
I've
Okay.
done like 300 of them.
Yeah. And how important is that, Chris? And how important is it to like build your own channel somewhere?
It's extremely important because my first
See you,
year,
Tim.
I would say that people backed
Hey, Eric.
me more than the story.
Mm-hmm.
So they pretty much only backed it because they liked me. So yes, so I don't ever do nude covers or topless covers, but I do have sexy covers from well-known artists, and yes, that helps a lot. So Redemption doesn't really have any of that, and my sales are between 35 and 5,000 per Kickstarter. The Western, I've had 2 sexy covers, and it brought in 14,000, and so far 6,000. So yeah, unfortunately, they do bring in a lot. But it also brought in readers. So my first issue 1 had 330 backers. So that helped a lot. Some of them, I would say, 20% of them only wanted the cover and they probably didn't read it. But the rest did seem to read it and seem to like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of key. You want them to buy your book, but you want to hook that may be a one and done because I like the cover artwork, right? You want to hook them and actually create more readers.
Yeah. So that's why Redemption never had sexy covers. I did it for the Westerns because somebody talked me into it, and I really didn't want to spend $1,000 on a cover. But I took the risk, and it paid off because it brought in these artists have followers of 70,000, so it brings in a lot more readers and a lot more eyes on my book. So yeah,
you probably found out within comics there are completists, especially people that follow artists. They like to get everything they do, no matter what it is.
Yep.
That might be a small sect, but it could be he's got a large core group, like you say, and could be translated into several sales.
I'm kind of hoping that the journal is found by some completist and they have to keep backing it to get the covers, the pages.
Well, really, you when you invest that much into a cover, and I'll be honest with you, I've not invested that much into one piece, but you have to say, is this justified, right? Is that going to be a return of at least my money back?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If not better.
And as for Glitch, I'm not going to lie, the art. So my artist always says the story is important. And of course, obviously, the story is incredibly important, but I wouldn't have any readers without good art. So I think the art brings them in and the story keeps them,
Yeah, I've said
they come for the art and stay for the story.
Yeah, the art grabs you and the story should keep you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's kind of in my own words.
Thanks, K-pop.
And I am watching the clock for you. We got about, I don't know, 8 minutes or so, about an hour and a half. Thanks for giving me that extra 30 minutes.
You're welcome.
I'm not boring like Doc.
It's not that it's boring. It's my husband's coming home and I got to make dinner.
And I kind of knew that too. I kind of what's on the menu? You know yet?
I'm probably just doing pasta because the extra half hour I don't have time to cook.
Yeah.
So
you can blame it on me,
I am going to blame it. I'm going to be totally
okay. Well, feel free that you can come back anytime you want. When
I appreciate that. Yeah, I love doing podcasts.
Yeah. Were you an introvert, extrovert? I mean, how hard was it to do those many broadcasts?
I'm definitely a little bit of both. When I'm with people, I'm very extroverted, but I barely want to leave my house. So I have the abilities and the personality to be an extrovert, but I rather stay at home. And see, get in the kitchen. He knows.
Yeah, and K-Pop's Junkie says also super good price points on the tiers and books.
Yeah, I try to keep it very affordable for people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think,
wasn't he in this show? Where did he go?
Was. He's my co-host. His internet's crap today, so it's not. Yeah, Yeah, he was operating on his phone, so it was getting some reverb. But um, now, are you on any regular shows? I mean, you do have your YouTube channel, and the link is down in the description. Her
Yeah.
ex is in the description. I did not put your Facebook, but you're over on Facebook. That's where we kind of connected.
Yes.
You know.
So I did have a weekly show, but I just it's just a lot of work to be on it. So I moved it to 1 month show. So the first Monday of the month,
See ya,
I
Anthony.
usually have a show.
He's gonna go make some pasta too. We make people hungry around here.
Thank you, Dirk.
Yeah. Is there something that you prefer? Do you prefer like Italian or American
Well,
food?
I am
Thai, or-
Italian, so I do
Yeah.
like Italian. So my
Yeah.
my family's from Italy, not
Yeah.
me, but I was born here. But
I guess you still have family up in New York and everything, and
oh yeah, my whole entire family is up north.
yeah.
I
What
have
do they
family
think?
in New York, Connecticut, and Italy. That's
What do
about
they
it.
think about you moving down to Tennessee? And was that because of your husband?
They were not happy. No, I moved
Yeah.
here because I got laid off, and I told my husband that he had the choice of we either buy a house in Tennessee or we stay in a townhouse in the north forever. So he chose to buy a house, and here we are. So we've been here about 10 years. I love it here.
Cost of living's a lot lower, right?
Oh, it's not even close.
Yeah.
My taxes on my townhouse, which is like 800 square feet and no property, was $1,200 a year, and my acre of property in 2,000 square foot home is 900. Yeah, K-pop. I'm everywhere.
A pretty close knit Italian family, then would you say?
They are. I'm not really family orientated. They are. They're all super close knit.
Yeah.
They like family gatherings. I never go. I stay home.
I mean, now you have a good excuse, right? I'm all the way down.
That
here in
was
Tennessee.
probably another reason I moved. Yeah. My brother has a get together like every month, and we're just like, so we're far away.
Yeah.
Can't come. Yeah.
Wow, that's quite often, really. I mean, a reunion every month.
My brother loves it.
Yeah.
Bye.
So would you call him a social butterfly?
My brother, yeah. He was a weird guy. He is a weird guy. When I was a kid, he wanted me to hang out with him, whereas most big brothers are just like, nope, get away from me. My brother's like, come on, let's go, and I was like, oh, okay. So
yeah. I think Omer was inquiring if you had children.
I do not.
So
that's why I have time to do all this.
No kids, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
No kids.
Yeah.
5 pets. That's it.
Yeah. What's your pet? What's your pet?
I have 4 cats and 1 dog.
Oh wow! Outside dog or inside?
No, she's 16 years old and she's about the size of a cat. And I don't know if
wow! About the
is.
size of a cat. Okay.
Yeah.
And what breed is she? Wait! Go back! Go back!
Oh,
Let's see that precious baby. Oh, yeah, beautiful.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about you.
And I see a cat too. So they've been, yeah. Oh, cool.
She's looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm talking about you.
Well, she knows by now you are.
I'm talking about you. Yes, I am.
Yeah.
She is a Papillon, which is French for butterfly.
Oh, wow. And so all your cats are inside as well?
Yes, I have. Let's see. One, and it's right there.
Oh,
one is back there. And I don't know where the hell. Oh, one's in the window over there and behind and I don't know where the other one is. He's probably sitting on the fake grass in the kitchen. I don't know.
Okay. I thought I saw one laying on your leg there on your lap, but maybe it was that one. Yeah. We had some cat people here. Carrie's big a cat. She has a cat. I have a Jack Russell for the last 12 years.
Yeah.
But
the Papillon's about the size of a Jack Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's mad because I woke her up now. Yeah.
Show me some love.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your favorite pasta dish?
I love baked ziti, so I would have to go with baked ziti. If pizza doesn't count, then it's baked ziti. So
yeah, I mean pizza is awesome. I'm sorry, that's my favorite food in the world. Not everybody can make it good. What kind of style pizza do you like? Shadowhawk's up around Chicago. He says Chicago style, but yours is probably
No, not
New
Chicago
York
style.
New
Definitely not.
York.
I do like New York style. I also
Yeah.
like Sicilian. I don't know if you've ever had Sicilian, but it's
Yeah.
square. Yeah, it's very
Square
thick. I never get that because no one ever has it, but I did grow up
Uh-huh.
with Sicilian because my mom is Sicilian and my dad's Italian. So
Now you can make it, right? Do you know how to
yeah.
make it?
I do know how
Yeah.
to make it. Yeah, my grandmother
Yeah.
used to make it in the second kitchen because every Italian. I don't have a second kitchen, but every true Italian has a second kitchen. So
Yeah.
look at her. She's like, screw you.
All right, last question because I don't want to step on your toes too bad. That damn Rex, he can't shut up. I say potato peeler. That I cannot do without a potato peeler in the kitchen. What's your most inexpensive
Spatula.
You know the word. You can't get rid of it. Yeah, spatula. Oh, spatula. Yeah, okay.
The rubber kind, not the there's actually two versions of it. One is called the flipper and one is the spatula. And the spatula is the one I like that because I use it for everything.
And I know Carrie's going to call us out because they call that a spanner in the UK.
I have never heard it called that.
Yeah, well, she's never heard spatula. I mean, their cookies or biscuits, their biscuits or cookies. It's their gravy is sauce. It's all mixed up.
Yeah.
Spatula City, exactly right. Well, Corissa, thank you. Blame me for late dinner, or
I haven't heard the garage door go up yet, so he's almost here. Spatula City, yeah. So
okay, all right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. If anyone wants to back it, just go search Worthy Chaos. There's links everywhere, but I just go and do Worthy Chaos on Kickstarter, and we got 2 new backers, or a new backer since coming on. So 2, I think we got 2 new ones.
And so when will this campaign be over?
This ends May 2nd on that Saturday. It was supposed to end on Friday, but I screwed it up. So now it is
127 backers. I just updated it. $6,453. So
yeah.
Supernatural Thriller will play your trailer one more time for people that came in late. And I bet you've never seen this trailer before, only 1,000,000 times. There you go. There you go. Keep collecting, and we will see you tomorrow.